Awesome. Hi, guys. I'm Becca Kantor. I'm the Director of Brand Partnerships over at Teton Ridge. If you're unfamiliar with Teton, we are the leading Western sports and entertainment media company. Most recently just acquired the Cowboy Channel, so we're the largest rights holder in Western sports. Very excited to be here, sitting with all of you. And I know we had a little bit of time to catch up last week, but why don't we kick things off with all of you introducing yourselves, your roles at Uber, NFL, and Diageo.
Yeah. We're sharing a mic, so bear with us. But thank you for having me. I'm Molly Spy. I look after global brand partnership marketing at Uber. So in a nutshell, I essentially look after marketing for our largest strategic partnerships that we have across the globe, as well as across line of business. Get to work with an incredible team doing that, and NFL is one of our core partners.
Mike Minnella, I'm a senior director of our global partnerships team. So been in the league for 5.5 years, and some good friends on this panel with me, and I've been fortunate enough to work with them on bringing them on board as a partner, and all the incredible work they've been doing with us. So I'm excited to be here.
And I'm Rick. I'm the head of sports for Diageo North America. So I look after our incredible portfolio of brands and their investments in sports and connecting our consumers and sports fans in a really close way with partners like the NFL and Uber.
Awesome. So Mike, I want you to kick things off for us and tell us a little bit about your approach to partnerships with NFL and share a little more on that piece.
Of course. Well, we're all here for the Super Bowl, so it brings everyone together, right? So I think for us, it's always been a less is more approach when we take a look at who the right partner for the NFL is. And, when we started talking, Molly, Rick, and all of our partners, we really take a lens of, are they the right partner for both sides? And how can they help us in really 3 different lenses that we look at, right? The game of football, our fans, or the experience, and how can partners really tap into any and all 3 of those different elements. And then again, when we start having these conversations, we want to be with the best of the best in every category where they could help us. And I think for us, when we started having conversations on both sides, the Diageo side, when we started looking at the spirits category, when we never opened up in the history, this was 2.5 years ago at this point, we looked at the category holistically and we said, who would be our best partner? And we looked at Diageo and what they were doing in the space already, right? They worked with clubs, they worked with our broadcasters, and just all the incredible work that they were doing around the category as a whole. We really thought there was a real true partnership there. And then how we started building ideas, which we'll talk about today, but Fan of the Year and all the activations that they've done, we really thought, how do we lean into this holistically, and that's the approach that we want to take with our partners. Is if you want to become an NFL partner on both sides, we should be leaning into this full force, right? How are you leveraging the NFL, the Super Bowl, Pro Bowl, Combine, and both of these brands up here have amazing activations throughout the week, which we'll talk about. But that's certainly how we look at partnerships. And then even from the Uber side, Molly and I go back to when it was Postmates originally. But I think for us, we really thought about that of it was a new category, right? It was the first ever on-demand delivery category for any sports league, and they were doing things so creatively, so differently. And at that point, Postmates, they were able to move in a very fast and innovative way. And we knew, obviously, there was a potentially opportunity with Uber down the line. And we said, what Uber does for our fans and how they could connect to, our fans, it made a ton of sense, right? And this was literally during the pandemic. So what better way to connect with our fans in that way? And then again, I think for us also, it's not about the first year, the first 3 years, but it's long term. And obviously, from an Uber standpoint, from a Diageo standpoint, we continue to grow our partnership. And we don't look at things of this is going to be a 3-year partnership, but how do we really do things in a 5-10 year type of window to make some change with our partners.
Awesome. And so Rick, Molly, we talked a lot about the ecosystem of brands at the NFL, and one, how you identified the NFL as being a core marketing tactic for both of your brands, but 2, you wanted to figure out ways to make your campaign even more impactful, and by doing that, you guys partnered together. Can you talk to us a little bit about your Take a Minute, Make a Plan campaign, and
Sure, and I'll start and I'll kick it over to Molly. So for us, look, we're a house of brands, and the way that we think about engaging with consumers is through the lens of each of those brands' objectives, targets, personalities, right? Whether it's Crown Royal, whether it's Smirnoff, Captain Morgan, Don Julio, they each have a different target, different person that they're speaking to, different client. But as a parent company, for us at Diageo, responsible drinking and promoting positive behaviors and connections with alcohol is paramount. Regardless of the brand, across our ecosystem, we're always promoting a more responsible relationship with alcohol because it is what is required of us, what we feel a responsibility to do, and what creates a sustainable business model. And so when we're thinking about creating a campaign, in the past we've had different positive drinking campaigns with each of our brands, but we wanted to do something across the Diageo portfolio. And we thought that partners like the NFL and Uber would be a great way to do that. So we developed this campaign in partnership with our agency Anomaly called Take a Minute, Make a Plan. And it's really, it's less about telling people and chastising people for behavior and more just encouraging, hey, before you go out for a night where you may have a cocktail or a drink, just takes literally a minute to just think through, I'm going to get home, I'm going to make sure I'm in an Uber, I'm going to make sure public transport's available, I'm going to make sure a friend can drive. And delivering that message at scale is really easy when you have a partner like the NFL and our 24 club partners. And so through that, we partner with Molly, we partner with Mike and the NFL to promote this message all season long. You'll see it throughout New Orleans. Molly and the team were fantastic in providing us their assets and services. Obviously, they're a core way in which the consumer can get home safely. So I'm very fortunate that we have stalwart partners and leaders in their space, like Mike said, to get this really important message out to consumers across the country.
Yeah, and I can just add a little bit to that. I think what both of you have said is that there is this really powerful ecosystem of brands that exist with partnership and the NFL. And so I think what I love about that campaign and just love about being a partner of the NFL is that everyone is coming into this with this mindset of driving joint value. And it's both driving joint value for our brands, but it's also driving joint value for the fans. And I think that that is very exemplary in regards to what Mike was talking about, why we entered into partnership with the NFL in the first place, and then also how we're able to look across, how many partners do you have?
30.
Across all 38 partners and think about how might we actually do more together. When you take a step back, there's tremendous overlap between all of our businesses. And so I think where we can find those synergies, like you can actually make magic happen. And it can be an incredible experience at the same time. So we were really pleased. Diageo came to us with the idea. It was a fantastic idea. And we were really proud to support it.
Awesome. And Mike, anything you want to add on just the partnership as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is the blueprint of what success looks like, right? I think when we have, again, 38 partners of, we believe, the best partner portfolio of any sports entertainment property, when they get to work together, that's where 1 + 1 = 3, right? And I think that's where a lot of opportunities just outside of what we're doing with a Diageo separately or an Uber separately creates really big moments, and we push our partners for that, right? How can they work with other brands within the NFL to create things that make sense? And something like this, it goes back to the core for us, right? The fan experience is everything. So obviously, some people want to have their drink during games, and they should get home safe. And we are responsible for telling that message in the right way. So again, I think that just goes back to how we see partnerships being successful, where brands and big brands like the NFL, like Diageo, like Uber could work together to create truly like a national platform that could change the fan experience in a lot of ways.
Awesome. And then Molly, I know you guys launched a big new campaign this week. I know we have some creative. Do we want to show that first before we talk a little more?
I can tee it up.
Yeah.
I can tee it up. We're really excited to share this with the room today. If you haven't seen it yet, we have been teasing the Uber Eats Super Bowl commercial for the past few weeks now through a variety of different teasers and social placements and press. But if you haven't seen it, we are actually expanding upon what we were running throughout the season. And so this means that we're actually trying to double down down on a little known conspiracy that football was actually invented to make you hungry. And so the spot itself is basically trying to bring together all of the different things that exist within football, but are actually also food. And it's all the story is all told by our chief conspirator, Matthew McConaughey. And so I think, we can play it.
Awesome.
Look, from the very beginning, football's been a conspiracy to make us hungry. Now let me tell you where it all started.
And we'll call this a pigskin. Make people crave bacon.
And everybody loves bacon.
I love bacon.
Bacon.
Ever ask yourself how Buffalo got a team?
These wings deserve a team.
Yeah. I figured out a good team name for Buffalo, Bill. Buffalo. Buffalo.
They'd do anything to sell food.
Do I have to be called refrigerator?
Yes. Even Peyton was in on it.
Omaha! Steak. Omaha! Steak.
And they're still at it. This year, we got a halftime show presented by an apple. In a stadium named after
A salad!
Matthew,
Yeah. Hey,
sorry. You want me to make a movie about a football conspiracy?
come on, Greta. Bacon's in.
Everybody loves bacon.
No one believes that football was invented to sell
Food! When football makes you hungry, order Uber Eats.
Love it. Love him.
No, thank you all. I will say it's actually really fun to watch your faces while you're watching this. We've been looking at this now for a couple of months, and I still giggle every time. I think it's just such a great spot. And as a fan of the NFL, I'm genuinely obsessed. So thank you for letting us play that for you. Obviously, you can see there's a lot of club partners, brand partners. Clearly, the NFL prominently featured in that, so that was no small feat, and obviously just another testament to how great these guys are. So,
And when they first brought it up to us, this is obviously a little different than most spots, right? And I think like we thought it was such a creative out of the box idea as if you think about like just food and football and how do you create that messaging. So there's a lot of things that they're doing around activating this, which is going to be really cool in the next week or so. But again, it goes back to just how we look at our partnerships, right? Like this is going to be on the biggest stage during obviously the biggest event in the world. And they're leaning in with us, which is so cool to see. Again, their spot's going to be with the NFL and Uber, and hopefully it will be the number one spot in the game.
don't jinx us. Somebody knock on wood.
And then Rick, so I know you have 4 of your brands activating in the Super Bowl. Can you tell us a little bit more about what we are going to be seeing throughout the week and what we can expect from you guys?
Yeah, of course. And I'll touch on 2 specifically. And again, through the lens of the brand personality and ethos. One is Crown Royal. Crown Royal has a very long history in the game. They've been partners with the Saints. We've been partners with the Saints for over 18 years. It really Crown led the way to what our partnership is now. They were the first advertiser nationally from a spirits category on the NFL. Broke ground as a first spirits partner 4 years ago, not 2.5, Mike. And the brand identity is around generosity. I love our brands. I'm like a nerd about our brands, and not to go too much into the history of Crown Royal, but it was created to honor the King of England on his first visit to Canada in 1936 by the Seagram family. And that's why it's a purple bag, the color of royalty. That's why it's called Crown Royal. They stocked hundreds of cases on his train for his trip from Montreal to Vancouver. And so the brand is all about generosity and giving back and giving thanks to the people that make the football occasion what it is. And so we have what we call the Royal Rig, which is a huge experiential activation that will take place on Saturday. And it's really about doing a lot of things that thank our communities, whether it's the military community. So the Purple Bag Project, we pack the Purple Crown Royal bags with supplies that we ship to the military. So we partner with the NFL during Salute to Service to do that. And so you'll see that's something that we're really excited about. For Captain Morgan, Mike mentioned a couple of things. We do Fan of the Year. The Fan of the Year program, Captain's all about celebrating what makes you unique, really, like that spice that makes the NFL fan so special. And so we love to celebrate that, and we'll be announcing the Fan of the Year winner. And then we also partner with the City of New Orleans to rename on Saturday officially. Bourbon Street is going to be renamed Rum Street. And so when you go, if you spend some time on Bourbon Street on Saturday, all the signs are going to be red and called Rum Street. And so we're going to have some activations there, a lot of really cool experiential activation taking place. So really it's through the lens of that. We're activating some things with Don Julio, with Smirnoff. So for us the NFL allows us to find those right moments for each of the brand to shine through the NFL occasion, time period, and it really gives us a lot of flexibility. And we have those 4 brands activating here, but throughout the season we have about 12 of our brands activating across our clubs in some way, shape, or form. And really only the NFL can provide that breadth of consumer that allows us to do that with all of our brands.
Awesome. And then Rick, Molly, I guess if there's any other major initiatives that we can expect to see from both of your brands this year, outside of the Super Bowl, like what does everything look like? You know, you have these big moments you're doing this week. What does it look like next week and moving through the rest of the year?
Yeah, for sure. I can start. I love Bourbon Street getting renamed. That's genius.
Yeah.
By the way, most of the famous cocktails in New Orleans are made with rum, like Hurricanes. Everything's made with rum, right?
So good, so smart. So
our bullet team is back in New York, really annoyed at this.
We like outside of Super Bowl. I'll get to that in a second, but I just want to build on what you mentioned about unlocking moments quickly. So at Uber, we often think about partnerships as trying to accomplish 3 pillars, which is to unlock audiences, which obviously exists here, unlock moments, which Super Bowl, there is nothing bigger, and then unlocking value. And we actually are unlocking value for our members, our Uber One members tomorrow night. 3 years ago, we actually launched the One Party, which is a members only exclusive event where we also invite partners to that as well. But really proud to see that actually go live tomorrow night as just an opportunity for us to give back to our members and to let them experience all of this incredible, I guess, celebration that is the Super Bowl weekend. And so we have that going. And then this is totally unrelated to NFL, but you may have seen, and I'm not sure where this group is all traveling in from, but we recently announced a partnership that's coming up with Delta that we will be launching in the spring. So if you are a Delta traveler, you will actually be able to earn Sky Miles on eligible rides and eats. So we're thrilled to get that out into market. So I'm just going to there's got to be a few New Yorkers in here. I'm hoping. There we go. So mental note that later this spring that'll be coming out. That's awesome.
And what we get excited about, we're the world's biggest spirits beverage alcohol company. We also own a little beer brand called Guinness. And so across spirits and beer, we're the biggest player in the world. And for us, the NFL's expansion into different markets has been absolutely fantastic. And this year, we were able to activate in the UK, in Canada, in Mexico, in Brazil. We've done some work together in Germany. And so with some of the upcoming markets that have been announced, will be announced, we'll have the opportunity to do that. And again, each market across the world at Diageo has different priority brands. And so what we brought to life in Brazil was with our Johnny Walker brand. What we will bring to life in other markets will be with market-dependent brands. So again, the scale and the reach that the NFL, not only in the US, but globally is starting to build, allows a company like us to really be able to find those audiences and those unique moments, especially because in a lot of these countries, whether it's Germany, Brazil, Americana and American culture, especially around the football occasion, is so strong, so powerful. It's a great vehicle for us to be able to expand what we do from the United States to different markets around the world.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think our international growth is so important for us. You can't listen to the commissioner and not hear him talk about international. And having the right partners that are going to come on that journey with us is critical for our growth. Again, we are obviously the most dominant sport here in the U.S., but we're not in other markets. And how do we bring the right partners to give fans in those markets the experience that they have here? And it's going to be a tremendous journey, right? I think this year we had 5 games. Next year we will have 8 games internationally, and the commissioner's been on record that he wants to have 16 games internationally throughout the year, right? So to do that, you have to have the right brands, the right partners to help support the growth of football. And it will be interesting to see, where games will be played. We already announced one in Australia in 2026, which is going to be amazing, and Madrid next year, right? So all these markets of how we really become a global sport is going to be great, and with the right partners to go on this journey with, because it's an exciting time for us for sure.
Awesome. And from there, unless there's anything else you guys want to share, we could open it up for questions. Yeah? Anybody, any questions? Yeah?
Hi, Jason from Brand Innovators. What's the key to success in collaborating when you have different companies, different corporations coming together, and it's not as easy as you make it look?
Lack of ego, I think. I don't know. I think when we have calls, it's always, and we've thrown some things at the wall here with both with the NFL and with Uber, and we know that not everything's possible. But I think a lack of ego, really, and just understanding that, look, whether it's Uber Eats, right, or whether it's Uber, the rideshare as a partner for Diageo, both of those in different capacities are very important. And so I think it's for us, at least at Diageo, is just being really open-minded and understanding that the equation of 1 + 1 = 3. It's really important to understand that we're a big company, but so are the NFL, so are Uber. We all bring value to the table, respecting that and respecting the needs of our partners as well.
Yeah, I was like, you said no ego, and I was like, yes, absolutely. I think that's absolutely core to it. I think it's also trying to identify where the swim lane is. We're all bringing different brand objectives to the mix, to the table. We all have different, businesses that we're having to report KPIs back to. And so I think it's trying to figure out, all right, what do you need? What do you need? What do we need? And how do we find what that cleanest swim lane is? I often talk about the path of least resistance, and let's start there and then grow beyond that. Because you're right, partnerships can be tricky, but I think if you can find people who are there to drive joint value, who don't have ego, and who are happy to find what is that runway, what is that path, that's I think where you can make really cool things happen.
And the one thing I'd add is a lot of trust in partnerships, right? Because I think for us, the NFL brand is at the core, right? It's always protect the shield first and foremost type of mindset that we have. And again, I think from working with the right partners and them proving that they care about the same messaging, drinking responsibly, the fan experience, in due time, everyone in our building now knows that these are partners that we could trust, and these ideas are going to be executed in the right way. Because again, we don't want to take a risk of where a brand is going to go in a direction that we don't trust. So I think that helps us so much to have the right partners, but then also internally, when there's a million different stakeholders, community, events, whatever it is, they know that our partners have the same core values as us, and that opens up the conversation in a much bigger way than not seeing the proof in the pudding, so to speak. So, yep.
Anyone? Oh, back there?
Yeah, this is a question for Rick. So I saw you guys in the last month launched the Popeyes collab. I wanted to hear how that partnership came together and how you guys kind of.
Yeah, again, it's about finding the right partners for the right occasions. So for us, just being here in New Orleans, obviously, with Popeyes being based here, was a really great opportunity to collaborate with what we're seeing in culture, which is just a really sharp growth in tequila, reposado, Don Julio. Reposado is the fastest growing spirit in North America. So coming here, it was a great opportunity to do that. But I think for us, that's a great partnership. We love it. But when we think about our NFL ecosystem, not just with Uber, we do a ton of amazing programming with Applebee's, recently named a big partner of the NFL. And so it's finding the right moments for Don Julio. That's the right partnership. But if you go to an Applebee's, you're going to see the menu front to back with Diageo products and NFL marks. And so it's about finding, again, the right swim lanes.
Awesome. Yeah.
This is from Molly. So I know that this ad for the Super Bowl is amazing. I know you guys had a pretty robust teaser campaign. Would you mind
Sure. Yeah. There was, as you mentioned, a very robust teaser campaign. I think that we're starting to see brands obviously going out pre-Super Bowl to kind of tease the content and the ads that they're going to be running. You see a lot of press that starts to pick up around it. And so we really wanted to drop little Easter eggs of what you could expect and experience and do that in a really intentional way. We actually also, in partnership with the NFL, we first launched this stunt where we actually covered Superdome on Caesars Superdome, and it was Caesars with a banner that said salad. And so it was very intentional for us to actually lead with our Martha content because that stunt was happening and we knew it was happening. And I will say it was no small feat to hang a banner on a stadium that was hosting the biggest event ever, and that was only done because there was limited ego, because there was NFL supporting us and trust in making that happen. But generally, that is kind of how we thought about the phasing of one, starting to drop these Easter eggs of like, there are a lot of football and food isms, and then leading more with Martha because that stunt was going to launch pre-Super Bowl.
Any other questions out there? All right. Well,
thank you, everyone.
thanks,
Chiefs or
guys.
Eagles? What do we got? Chiefs fans here? Anyone? Nope. Wow. Eagles? Go Birds?
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.